Hello boys and girls, welcome to Mrs. Bandu's Math Movies. This is Course 3, Lesson 7-1, Pairs of Angles. Our objective is to identify types of angles and to find angle measures using the relationship between angles. So we are beginning our journey into the wonderful world of geometry. Okay, as you probably know, there will be a lot of definitions in geometry, a lot of sketches or drawings or pictures to look at. So you want to pay careful attention to everything. Certainly, if you have additional questions than what are answered in the videos, always remember you want to ask those in class. Okay, we will start with our vocabulary for this time. Adjacent angles have a common vertex and a common side, but no common interior points. Okay, I'm going to abbreviate points, PTS. You'll find that I will probably abbreviate a few things just because there's often a lot to write and often not very much room to write it. Okay, we'll do the pictures last. Let's go ahead and do the definitions. Vertical angles are congruent angles formed by intersecting lines and are opposite each other. Okay, so that would be vertical angles. I think I mentioned I was doing some research online and I found that in Britain, I believe these are called opposite angles, or in different perhaps programs anyway. Anyway, two angles are supplementary if the sum of their measures is 180 degrees. Two angles are complementary if the sum of their measures is 90 degrees. Okay, and someone pointed out in class that, oh, I remember complementary because it's right to give a complement, so a right angle is 90 degrees. That goes with complementary. So I thought that was a nice little trick to help you remember the difference between the two. All right, well, let's do our pictures here. So these right here are going to show us adjacent angles. Angles 1 and 2 are adjacent. They have the same vertex and they share a common side. So the vertex is right here. The side between them that they share is here. So angle 1 is from here to here. Angle 2 goes like this. They would be considered to be adjacent angles. The next picture is shows us vertical angles. Vertical angles 5 and 3 are vertical angles. So 5 and 3, they're opposite of each other. And 6 and 4 are vertical angles. Okay, so they're opposite of each other. They're formed by two intersecting lines, and they are vertical angles are congruent to each other. Excuse me. Angle WYX and angle WYZ are supplementary. Angles, because their measurements together add up to 180 degrees. Also, they're adjacent, and you see that they're two opposite rays. The ones that are not adjacent form that line right there or a straight angle if you want to call it. So that measures 180 degrees. Angle VSR and VST are complementary angles. Okay, and we see the right angle in here. It's right to give a complement, so right angles are the two angles that make up a right angle would be considered complementary. Okay, our final definition are perpendicular lines, and they are two lines that intersect to form right angles. Okay, so that does it for our definitions and such. Let's go ahead and look at some examples. Identifying adjacent and vertical angles. So we see right here that we have two intersecting lines. We want to name a pair of adjacent angles and a pair of vertical angles in the figure at the right. Okay, well, we actually can name several pairs, so let's look at a few. If we have angle HGK, adjacent to that would be angle KGJ. So angle KGJ. Okay, so here and here. Now, to KGJ, we could also say that angle JGI is adjacent. Okay, and angle IGH would be adjacent to angle JGI. And finally, IGH is adjacent to angle HGK. Okay, I went about this in a clockwise motion just to to try to follow the pattern that they had laid for me here as well. So it just went around like that. So really, this only asks for one pair, so if this were a question on a test or something like that, you would really only have to give me one. We picked out all of them. Okay. The vertical angles are angles JGI, so JGI is right here. Its vertical angle is angle HGK. A second pair would be angle HGI, excuse me, lost my thought for a moment there, and angle KGJ. Remember, you do want to use your angle symbol, appropriate symbols here, so use your angle symbol. Since vertical angles are congruent, the measure, the little m means measure, of angle HGK is equal to the measure of angle JGI, which is equal to 145 degrees. So these two angles right here, each of those measures 145 degrees. Okay. All right, let's move on. Finding supplementary angles. Suppose the measure of angle DEF is 73 degrees. Find the measure of its supplement. Okay, so we see here that the missing angle measure plus the measure of angle DEF should equal 180 degrees because they are supplementary. Okay, now this is done with algebra. I mentioned in class that I'm not going to be quite as particular about you showing algebraic work as I am, are you getting the geometric concepts here? So I'm going to back off a little bit on that in this chapter, so enjoy it while you can because it won't last forever. You're certainly welcome to do this algebraically as presented here, or I'll show the alternate in just a moment. So we want to substitute in 73 degrees for the measure of angle DEF. So we get x plus 73 equals 180. We'll subtract 73 degrees from each side, and so x is 107 degrees. Now, most of us know that the two supplementary angles should add up to 180 degrees, so you can subtract the known angle to get the 107. Okay, so I'm fine if you do this, but I do need to see one or the other, either the algebra or the simple math applying the concept of supplementary. Similarly, I'll accept the same type of work for number 3. A right angle is divided into two angles. If the measure of the larger angle is 67 degrees, find the measure of the smaller angle. The angles are complementary, so I know that they should add up to 90 degrees. So x plus 67 equals 90, so I'm going to subtract 67 degrees from each side. And when I do that, my answer is 23 degrees. So the complement of an angle whose measure is 67 is 23 degrees. Again, complement means 90, so if you know they're complementary, they have to add up to 90. Subtract the known angle to find the unknown angle measure. Again, I'll accept that. Okay, you have 3 quick check questions here. Please have those ready for discussion, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye now.